Morning. My name is Teresa Micheletti, and whether you're here at night, in the morning, listening whenever, welcome. This site is called Take What Rings True, and the whole idea is I'm going to share some spiritual thoughts, and you can believe it or not. You can believe part of what I say or none of what I say. So today I'm going to be talking about silver light, which I learned about in trance classes with Sylvia Brown going into trance, going to sit on a bench on the other side, and her spirit guides, either Francine or Rahim, would come into her body and talk to us and teach us stuff about the other side or about life and how to get through it. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to talk about the silver light. Now, in the past, I've talked about the silver cord. You have a silver cord that connects you to the divine. And as soon as you enter the fetus, then a silver cord is attached between you and the divine. So it is a direct line to what I believe is God, source, creator, whatever you want to call it. So the silver light is the light of creation. It's emanated from our mother and father God. I believe I'm going to adjust the sound. I believe that there's a mother God and a father God. There's a male side of God and a female side of God. It's a duality, just like in life, there's a duality. So if you break a fingernail or you're a kid and you skin your knee, you're not going to just go to the doctor. You're going to get a Band-Aid or fix your fingernail. So you don't go to the big power if you don't need the big power. And the silver light is big power. It's a very powerful light. You can call on the light of our creators. And it's a high vibration, the highest vibration. Now, we were thoughts in the mind of God, the Godhead, and unique thoughts before we became flesh or before we came form. So, using our silver cord, we don't have to think about it, it's automatically there. Using our silver cord, we have direct can't talk today, reciprocation with our creators. And every day they talk to us, although we don't remember. We think, oh, those wonderful thoughts were our thoughts. And actually, it's infusion from God. Sometimes you get infusion from your spirit guide also. So, the silver light. Now, Father God is more ethereal. He holds the whole universe together. And so he does not hold physical form very often. The Mother God is the ruler of all the planets, and she chooses to hold form more often. So her vibration is heavier because that's what she chooses to do. So you call on the silver light when things are in dire situations. So, say you are in a court case, you're in a custody battle, you're being endangered, or someone in your family is being endangered. Then you can call on the silver light. Someone's in awful grief, someone's really ill, someone's dying. Call on the silver light. Now, you don't call on it willy nilly when you break your fingernail because it brings the Mother Goddess and her angels, archangels, and it brings fairies and nymphs and loved ones who've passed and millions of helpful beings. Well, if you break your fingernail, you don't need millions of helpful heavenly beings to come help you. If you twist your ankle, you don't need millions of beings to come help you. But when you do, then call on the silver light. So, the silver light is a very powerful light. I called on the silver light once. I was teaching school, and a biker chick had come and threatened me, a parent. had come and threatened me because her daughter had been threatening other children and trying to fight with them, and just all around bully, like saying things. I think I've talked about her before, saying things like, if you don't do my homework, I'm going to beat up your best friend. So she was threatening a little girl, and the little girl just turned around and pushed her aside and went away from her, didn't pay any attention to her. And the biker chick mom came and wanted to know the name of the little girl. How dare she do that? It's like, look, you were threatening to pull her, what do you call those? Pierced earrings out of her ears. It's like, your daughter touches people all the time. She threatens people all the time. No, you're not getting the name of the child who actually stood up to her. So the next day, I see the mom who's threatened to come get the little girl that threatened her daughter, or not threatened her daughter, that stood up to her daughter. And I see her walking towards the cafeteria. So I called on the silver light and I called the police because she was trying to get this little girl. So that's a time when someone's in danger, call on the silver light. It's also, I remember one time they called it the silver curtain. So I guess it's like a curtain of people, a whole bunch of people, but it's usually called the silver light. When I had a spiritual retreat at Asilomar, the first one I had at Asilomar, it was a whole bunch of people had said that they were going to come, and then Sylvia died. So she was not going to speak at this retreat. And the time deadline had passed for changing the number of people who were going to come. And so they were going to charge me everything unless there were no openings at the retreat center. Well, there were no openings at the retreat center, but they were having people from our conference, from our area, stay in rooms that were being renovated, that the plumbing didn't work, et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, I had people pray, and I called on the silver light, and it was minimized. We had to pay an extra $1,000 or something. I don't remember what it was, but it was not like I have to mortgage my house to pay off this retreat because I'd done it in my name. So I called on the silver light, and it was taken care of. And you have to believe in it. I believed that it was going to be taken care of, and it was. So when you call on the silver light, what do you want the silver light for? Be direct and be specific. When my uncle was being taken advantage of, and I've talked about him before, and the caretakers were taking advantage of him, having him, write checks for his rent, but he owned the house, and his lawyer was crooked and had taken his money and his things out of his safety deposit box and transferred them to another bank. And anyway, it was not good. So when we went to court, because I went to court, I called on the silver light. And I also asked that people remember what is correct, what is correct thinking, what is the truth. And the truth came out. Even the judge said, that she was glad that I had called on the lawyers, and that my uncle's lawyer was brought up as a witness, and she didn't say he was being crooked, but that it was a good thing. Anyway, calling the silver light makes a difference. So if you're in dire straits, if you're in a dire situation, remember, call on the silver light. That's a spiritual tool that you can use. Not if you break your fingernail, not if you skin your knee. It's like big power. So when you need big power, call on the silver light. Now, At times, not every day, you can use the power of the silver light. Remember, I talked about silvery platinum columns when I was talking about tools of protection? Silvery platinum columns are from that same source of energy. So you can plant silvery columns. They're in a triangle shape, like up and down, they're triangle shape. And you plant them over people, you plant them in the corners of your house, you plant them next to doors. You're planting the light of the creation in those places. And it helps to clear the room, it helps to clear the people. If somebody's really negative, plant that column when you're like 10 miles away. Don't plant it when you're right next to them, because it's like, to me, I always think of it like it sizzles, like maybe the Wicked Witch of the West and the Wizard of Oz, which they pour water on her. That's what I think of, like some people who are really negative, who have not accepted the light of God, which I talked about last week, I think. When you put that over them, then it sort of neutralizes their negativity. But I always think of it like sizzling, like maybe the Wicked Witch of the West gets planted with positive light. So, another thing you can do once in a while, not every 5 seconds, is to use the silver light and say it ahead of time. I want to use the silver light to clear myself. So if you would like to try that right now, find a comfortable position, take a deep breath, and think of clearing your energy. So we're going to think about sending the silver light through your head and down to your toes. So think of that silver light going through your crown chakra, flowing easily down through your body, your arms, your hands, your fingertips, down through the trunk of your body, your legs, your ankles, your toes. Let it fill your entire body with that beautiful radiant light. And think of that silver light, that light of creation, touching every organ, every muscle, every cell, every bone. And think of that light expanding out to your aura, your electrical emanation around you, your field, and fill that with the silver light. That pushes out all the negativity and fills you with the light of creation, the clear light, cleansing every cell, every organ, every muscle, every bone. And take a breath and breathe it into your lungs. Think of that silver light flowing with your blood, circulating through your whole body. Think of that silver light touching your lymphatic system that sends that liquid, that lymph, through your whole body, cleansing, cleaning, renewing, moving back to your personal DNA, your personal best DNA. And if you didn't have a best DNA, then we're going to ask that it be radiated, and that as the light radiates out, that it cleanses and that it repairs and that it makes new and the best version of you. Okay. Breathe in that silver light again and breathe out. Okay. Now, keep that light with you today and know you have that silver core that always connects you to the divine, and that you have that little tap, that little source that's connected to you. Usually your solar plexus, it could be connected a little bit higher, a little bit lower, but that area of your body is connected to the divine all the time. So know you are connected to this light, to this emanation from the divine at all times. And call on the silver light whenever there's a dire situation, especially if it's something to do with a child or someone's in danger, or there's a court case, or just a horrible situation, a dire situation, use the silver light. Thank you for joining me today, and I hope that you will join me again Wednesdays at 10 a.m. Sorry I was a little late. There was a substitute today for my sister's Meals on Wheels people. And if you're going to be in the Seattle area, or you are in the Seattle area, I'm going to be at the Wisdom Soup Summit on August 13th, which is a Sunday. And I'm going to be doing crystal healing. And it doesn't cost anything. Well, it costs to go to the conference, but it does not cost anything to do the healing. You can go sample a whole bunch of different kinds of healing modalities. So that'll be fun. So if you're in the area, consider going. So I will see you next Wednesday. Thanks for joining me.